Hello, I'm Blue and today I'll be showing you how I learned to draw hands and how I studied them. But before I start, today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. From websites to online stores to analytics, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to build your online presence and build your business. Squarespace will help you create professional websites from galleries to stores to personal blogs. Having a website dedicated to your work as an artist is important for clients to see what you have to offer and to reach out to you. I use Squarespace to create a portfolio for my work using the already made portfolio templates that they offer. It's very easy to throw together and looks professional and tidy. I also created a website where all my commissions and social media are linked so clients can contact me through there, along with my email at the bottom. This took me less than 30 minutes to make and I'm very satisfied with the end result. There are so many different types of templates you can find on their website for all different kinds of aesthetics and art styles. Squarespace is nice enough to offer you guys 10% off of your next purchase using my coupon code BlueBiscuits. If you're interested in creating yourself a beautiful website, please check them out at squarespace.com/bluebiscuits using my coupon code. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and now on to my tutorial. I'm going to try and keep this explanation as short as I can, but I am no pro at art, so I just kind of do this for fun. So the advice I'm giving is just stuff that works for me. You can do however you want. Art doesn't have rules. That's a very important thing that I kind of stick with. You don't have to do it exactly like I did, but try finding what works for you. I have been studying hands for a while now, so the stuff I'm going to give now is like how I broke it down and how I made it easier for myself. I really used to hate drawing hands. I used to hide them behind my character's back. I used to try and avoiding them as much as I can. But since I actually learned to draw them, I feel like they add so much to a drawing. They could be so expressive, and hand gestures can really define a character, and I don't know, I feel like they're very important. They do become easier. I know they're very difficult at first, but after you learn the shapes and stuff, they become very fun to draw. Reference is very important. But luckily you have hands of your own, so you can always have reference of hands on you at all times. But if you can't, or you don't really have reference at the time, or you can't really take a picture of your hand, you can always ask a friend or someone to pose for you. That's what I did today. I have two of my friends' hands here today, which I'll be drawing. Thank you so much to them and their contribution to my art channel. They have donated their pretty hands for me today, and I will be breaking them down for you guys. When trying to figure out any kind of pose, whether it be hands or anatomy, I try and imagine myself doing it. Like how my hand would be, where my fingers would be sitting, how would I be holding this comfortably. I feel like then you can have an image in your head and you can picture it better, and then your art would look a lot more natural. Also, try not to overthink hands. Hands are not as complicated, but just because people struggle with them because they overthink them. Once you get the basic shapes down, they become a lot easier. Try not to overthink them, try not to be scared to add them to your art. They are very expressive and everybody begins somewhere. Your hands are going to look bad in the beginning, but the more you draw, the more you practice, they'll become a lot better. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is how I break down hands into simpler shapes and what kind of shapes I use and the rules I kind of follow. This is just how I do it. If the way I do it doesn't work for you, you can always come up with your own way. Remember, art doesn't have rules. Also, if your style is different than mine, you're gonna have different art rules for your style. You just gotta find what works for you. So here I have some hands that I'm gonna be drawing today. It's my friend's hands, and I will be breaking them down. The first thing I always draw when I'm drawing hands is the palm. So the basic palm shape that I follow is like this. Like this. I'll explain it now. So it's basically a square, like a basic square, with a little extra part for the thumb, and each one of these it's a square. This is a square from this side, so it's kind of like that. So it's a square from the side plus the extra thumb piece. I try and think of this form in 3D, so there's going to be many different angles from this square triangle thing that I have for the palm. If you draw more hands and you break them down more, you'll understand from different angles what it would look like. So this is what it looks like from the side, and then this one's what it looks like from the top, and this one's kind of from the side. Also, the palm is kind of flexible, so you can bend it together, and you can sort of crease over here or over here. Yeah, it's a flexible part of the body. And the next thing I do is I plan out the fingers. So if you're doing a very simple hand pose, you can kind of make it like a puppet, like kind of like Teletubbies fingers. So normally I'd break down the hand like this. So then these three together, these two will be stuck together, and then the pointer finger. It'll make it a lot easier when you're like breaking it down or having like a really simple hand pose, because it's like easy to remember. It's not as complicated as remembering like all the, it's not as complicated. But when you're drawing more complicated finger poses, more detailed, I always start with the fingers. So I draw like the fingers in little circles. I plan out where they're going to sit. So they're all still together. Obviously there's like a line here. They're still together, but I planned out where they're going to be. So when I draw the finger, I can just connect it to the palm, like to the rest of the palm, and it's a lot easier. But when you're doing this, try and consider that the middle finger is the longest, so that's going to be the top point, and it's going to go down like that, right? Try and think of that every time you draw hands, even if it's like this, because this part is longer than like this part. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you finger anatomy. So when I'm like breaking down fingers, they are into like a cylinder like this, but then the joints, there are 3 joints on a finger, and this is part where the finger will be able to bend, right? When you're like breaking down finger cylinders, try and imagine them as 3D, so you can like kind of imagine where they'll end and where they'll go, so you can like draw them from all different angles, because fingers do have angles, and imagine them 3D will make them a lot more interesting. So with this one, I'm gonna plan out the fingers. This is where they're gonna go, right? So there's the palm, so then it's a lot easier to connect like the joints and stuff to them. So there's a joint here, there's a joint here, joint there. Each finger has 3 joints, even the thumb. The thumb has 3 joints here, and then this little extra piece of thumb I kind of consider that also a joint. Same with this one. So we're gonna have the palm over here. These are just the shapes that I use. So the shapes I use most is like a cylinder, and then a square, and then a little extra piece for where the thumb is going to be. When I first start drawing hands, I always try and start drawing the thumb first, because I feel like when you have the thumb planned out, it'll be a lot easier for you to plan the rest of the fingers out. Also, something that's pretty cool that I would like suggest is when you're drawing like a clump of fingers, if you're doing like the Teletubby finger thing, always have the pinky out or this finger out. Like never have them all together at once. So if you're drawing like a hand like this, kind of like closed off, like he's just holding whatever the hell this piece is. So he's just holding like a top, I guess. Right, so he's holding it. Try and having like the pinky out or moving like in a different way, right? Because like it'll make it a lot more interesting, like that. Does that make sense? Try extending the pinky. So if he has like a simple hand shape over here, like here's his pinky, it's gonna be out, and then the rest of the fingers are gonna be kind of like stuck together. So now that I showed you the shapes that I use, I'm going to be breaking down the basic anatomy in all of these photos, and then I'm going to be redrawing it, and then I'm going to be rendering it. So that's what you see in a second. That's me studying it basically. So I'm doing a short voiceover for this part of the video. I already put this part in like the first part of the video, but I wasn't in the mood to do any visuals, so that's why that's there. So when I first started off drawing these, I kind of break down the anatomy like I did, like I showed you how I break down the anatomy. Then I take it to the side and I kind of use that as reference as well as the original photo. That just helps me with learning the shapes and how they would interact with each other and stuff, you know, breaking it down first. And then I repaint it. I color pick from the original, but then I try and focus on lighting and shading and how like lighting would define a shape basically. So you can see in this part, so like here I focused a lot on the light on top of his fingers, like there where his knuckle starts, there's a bright light that kind of defines like the muscle over there, so I try to focus on that. And yeah, also with hands, like redrawing them over and over again really will help you improve. They do take a little bit of time to get used to, but I promise they do get easy. Like anything you practice over and over again and you like put the time and effort into it will become easier and you'll become better at it. Yeah, drawing these hands is very interesting. My style, I don't use a lot of blending in my style, so it's more like shapes that I rely on. So that's kind of what I was trying to do, but there were so many different colors and stuff that I was trying to rely on that it became very difficult after a while to not blend, to show that like the fingers are cylinder and stuff like that. I really got the hang of it like there by the end. Yeah. Sorry about the lack of videos and art recently. I've been really busy with like moving and stuff, so I'm kind of tired out, and like making all these videos is like kind of like made me tired. So from like next month onwards, there's only be like 1 or 2 videos a month, which will probably be like a speed paint and then an art video. But I'll probably just talk about art, or I'll do like a tutorial, or no, it depends on what I'm in the mood for. Yeah, but I just want to say thank you so much for 100,000 subscribers. That's insane. That happened so quickly. I'm kind of still in shock. I don't think I've really realized that how many people that actually is. Oh, like here on the video you can like tell there where his thumb is, I really relied a lot on the lighting there to highlight and show that there's a shape and stuff. Also, my friend has like really like cute pink fingertips, right? So like I thought that was really interesting, because I've always drawn my fingertips pink, but actually like seeing someone with pink fingertips is like super satisfying. Yeah, so I just want to say thank you so much for all the support and all that stuff. That really means a lot to me. I don't really know how to ramble a lot. I guess I can ramble about the art. Yeah, so this is my friend's hands again, and like another friend. He's got very interesting way of taking pictures. Thank you so much for the knives, so I appreciate. Yeah, I decided with like these ones that I was gonna do more line art rather than painting, since my style has become more line art more than painting, so I've been relying a lot on that. So this is just me practicing lines and stuff. So I sketched it out first, and then I lined it and stuff, but I didn't break it down at first because I was like more relying on just looking and observing rather than breaking down. Yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you're interested, please check them out in my description. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.